Hey guys, it's Mike at Narxoleptic Customs Podcast, episode 43. Mr. Eric Bergson with us today for Destroyer 1320 YouTube channel. Guys, we go over Rocky Mountain Race Week, how they drove 1,150 miles from Chandler, Arizona, all the way to Topeka, Kansas in 2 days to get over there to visit with all of us and how that affected my attitude and how everything was great after his visit. And they tell their story from the Road Week side of things on Rocky Mountain Race Week and basically the YouTube channel growth. He's going to give us some tips on how to grow your YouTube channel. So stick around. Here we go. All right, guys, before we jump into Eric, I want to tell you an awesome story. So Dan Pavlik, our sponsor for the Circuits Streetcar Shootout 2020, which is our charity drag race that we do in Mocan. His son Landon, I think, is 10, and he loved the cart. Every time he saw it, he was all over it, enjoyed it. So we stop at dinner. We stop for dinner after the shootout every year at Applebee's in Joplin. Dan and Landon are with us. When we go to leave, Landon asks if he can ride in the cart. So we were going to the gas station to fill up. So Landon jumps in. We get to the gas station. He's like, I don't want to get out. So it's about an hour from Joplin to Northwest Arkansas. So Dan approves Landon riding in the cart. So Landon gets back home. Love it. He will not stop talking about the cart is what Dan is telling me. Landon has started a YouTube channel, guys. I'm going to link it down in the description. And I really feel like he is going to, the cart was the nudge that I feel like that he needed to get his channel started. Dan and I have been talking about him wanting to do one for a while. So we're going to help with that as much as we can. And so we would love for all of our listeners out there to pop over and subscribe to Landon's channel. He'll be doing all kinds of fun stuff. I really don't know what he has up his sleeves, but his dad builds some super cool cars, and Landon is a big car guy. So please do us a favor, jump over, subscribe to his channel, and tell him what you think. All right, guys, now to Eric. All right, guys, we have Mr. Eric, Destroyer 1320, on the podcast today. If you watched the day 2 video, well, let me start by saying this. Thank you for being on the channel and on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited about this one because he has his channel and our channel YouTube stuff is right at the same. Like he just crossed 1,000. We just crossed 1,000 just before race week. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch both of our channels grow. And y'all, he's been a huge help to me on my end as far as getting our channel in check and making sure we had all the stuff that we needed to help get there. But let me tell the backstory real quick. So day 1, we Tulsa, and then I was up till 3, back up at 6, drove to Topeka, and literally it was a hard day. I was just killed, like emotionally and physically. I was so tired. And so we don't make passes in the unlimited class until very last. They want as much rubber put down as possible, and then the unlimited class to jump on the track. Well, obviously we're not unlimited class material with the Narx cart. So the funny thing is I'm laying there and we had the canopy like way down. It was shaded because Topeka has a huge parking lot, no trees. And so it was shaded. So we were staying out of the sun. And I hear a familiar voice and he's like, hey, is Narx in there? And because like you couldn't see, we were physically like the cart was there and the canopy. So people looking at the cart could not see us under there. So he comes under, completely changes the day for me from there. Like you came by, we had a great visit. It was super cool to meet you in person. Your energy hyped me and Dustin up. And then 20 minutes later, I went and made my first pass. And it was like low, no, just blah. And then right straight up. So I appreciate that about you. It was awesome. And then you've just helped me stay on that high since then with all the help and everything you've given me. So.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure. It was absolutely fun. It was cool because prior to race week, I had never done one of these before. I love racing. I love making content about racing for those who can't get there, who don't have the time to take and fly somewhere, spend the $15 and go to the race. So that's kind of what I was looking to do. So I wanted to look and see who was going. Well, as I typed it in, you popped up with all your stuff that you're doing for the Narxcart to prep it and get everything ready. And I'm just like, I looked at your viewers and I'm like, maybe this guy will respond. I don't know. Love his content. Seems like a cool dude. So that I just shot a thing out to you. Next thing you know, you're like, hey, yeah, man, that's great. And this whole relationship's been born, and I see a lot of great things in the future. As far as YouTube, dude, I think there's a lot of potential for what we both do. Yeah. And any way I can help you or anyone else in the YouTube world, especially as us smaller guys are trying to get our feet wet, dude, that's huge. That means the world to me to be able to help somebody else.
Yeah. Well, hey, I certainly appreciate it. So what we're going to do today for folks is tell two stories. So I've kind of given day one and day two recaps. And I really want to tell your side of stuff, and then I'll go in and add my day three, like from my perspective later. So I want, because you road weeked it essentially. So you missed day one. I want to hear I want to start with the car, your co-pilot and y'all's relationship, and how you decided the conversation of like, hey, you're coming with me, and then the car. And then let's just dive right into like race week and how you started in Topeka instead of Tulsa. Sound good?
Cool. Perfect. Yeah. So my car, as you can see, where's my finger at? Right there. That car is Destroyer Gray 2019 1320 Challenger. It's one of 108. It was a dream car for me. I've worked my whole life, drive really horrible vehicles and just socked money away. And then, finally made my way up to being able to purchase this vehicle. That's awesome. I was really creative with the name, Destroyer Gray 1320. People are like, oh, you stole the name. I'm like, it's the name of the car. That's what it is.
That's awesome.
But no, my brother is Dan IT guy. He was my co-pilot. And I had talked to my wife loosely about going to do this. And I didn't know how she would take it, me being unemployed since the end of April due to all the crud. Yeah. And I had mentioned it, and I didn't really push her on it. I just kind of left it there. And a couple days before we were supposed to leave, she's like, you're going, right? I'm like, what? I didn't think it was cool to go. She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, crap. So I reached out to my brother, and I'm like, dude, he is just like me. We're one and the same when it comes to our love and passion of cars and racing, anything that's fast. I mean, I don't care if it's a shopping cart in the wind. I will watch that thing blow because it's just fun to see fast things.
Yeah, if you don't drift a shopping cart when you're in Walmart, there's something wrong with you.
Every time I touch one, it's going sideways. But yeah, we grew up on a farm and worked on cars our whole life, so we do have knowledge and some skill on how to build things. Yeah. But going to this level to see that mix between man and machine, I mean, how much can you take? How much can your machine take? Yeah. That was just absolutely insane.
It was wild, dude. So wild. Because there's guys driving alcohol burning blower cars 215 miles one day and 300 and something the next,
Oh yeah. Having to pull off the blower, having to do, it's one thing to have to change from drag slicks to street tires, but these dudes basically had to rebuild their motors. That Why Not Camaro, that dude, how many lifters and rockers and everything did he go through? Almost every time he stopped, I saw him with the valve covers off and he's replacing stuff. That's crazy. That car didn't have 10 miles on it when it went to Larson to get the chassis built. That's crazy. Brand new car, and goes, that car made, 3,500 horsepower or something like that. Yeah, it was probably the most impressive car. Yeah. For somebody to take, that's seriously some money, but that's some love of racing that will push you to do that type of thing. Yeah. And when you go to that level, it's not about anybody else at that point. You're doing it for the passion of racing. And yes, it's great for everyone to see it, but that dude loves what he does.
Yes, that is for sure. So you're a gearhead, obviously. You're going to go on Rocky Mountain Race Week, which if people are just seeing this, like it is literally race your car every day. It was, I guess it was technically called Race Week 2.0. So we started in Tulsa, Topeka, Oklahoma City, Great Bend, Kansas, and back to Tulsa. And you literally drive your race car there. So if you have ever been in a race car for very long at all, or any high performance car, not the cart, because it's not high performance, it's just fun. If you have ever spent any time in that, you know what it's like to smell like fuel and eyes burn and all that kind of stuff, and just be in an uncomfortable seat for 1,300 miles, I think is what the trip was, or 1,100 miles, something like that. We ended up driving a little over 1,700, but it's a whole story. So tell us about your trip to Topeka, because you live in Arizona, right?
Yes, sir. Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah. So how far is your house from Topeka?
It was 1,163 miles for us to get to Topeka.
Jeez, that's a bunch.
Yeah, and our original intent was to leave and go to the first race. Well, I totally forgot about the time change.
Oh, no.
And I didn't factor in the, stopping for fuel and all that extra time. It was such a rush to make it happen in the first place. By the time we got to the hotel, we were so exhausted because I didn't sleep for almost 2 days prior to leaving because I was so excited.
Yeah.
You know, and then making sure you don't forget anything or this or that. So yeah, by the time we got to Amarillo, Texas, which is where we stopped, people are sending me videos of the first race. And I'm like, no, this ain't happening.
I can't do it. I can't keep going.
No. We got to Amarillo and I go, okay, if we got there, they literally would be shutting the gate in our face by the time we walked up.
Yeah.
So just let's get good rest.
And you would be dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd be dead. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd be useless. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
Right. So you leave Amarillo, you roll into Topeka. I mean, like you said, you'd only been there a few minutes and we had been there. Man, I've got this big male cat that is like wearing me out. Get off of me. He's like, please pet me. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I had to run him off. And it was like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I think, when you got there. So you guys had been on the road all day at that point too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We drove all the way there. It was just about 8 hours by the time we got there from Amarillo to get to the track.
Wow. So did any cars come in with you that were still out, like that were coming into the track to race? Like, did you guys get to drive with any of that leg?
No. By the time we got to the track, I saw a few people. I saw Uncle Chet's Lambo at the Super 8 where we were staying. And then there was a guy with that, it's kind of like a primer, almost orange Duster. He was in the parking lot. There's just a few scragglers. There wasn't really, the bulk of everybody was already there. So we were kind of late to the party, but
yeah, we never checked in early. We always just drove right to the track running with 301. It was an experience, dude. They don't mess around. I mean, it's like fuel stops, eat on the road. And I'm not used to that. I was like, I like to eat. I like to stop, I like to walk around a little bit. And we were stopping a lot for fuel, because those guys drive about 60 miles. Mm-hmm. But it was like, slide over, throw fuel in, everybody caught up, good, let's roll. Oh, crap. I'm trying to jockey cars and all that kind of stuff. So what was your first thought day one for you of Rocky Mountain Race Week?
I have to say, I had heard a whole bunch of people say that it's a family and that it's, the people there are second to none. And I have to say, everybody I met there was the coolest people on the planet, because it's that brotherhood of car guy or car girl that is just, it's unshakable. You don't worry about, oh, well, you have a Ford or you have a Chevy or, that's high school crap. When you hit that level of racing and stuff, you just love vehicles. You love mechanics. You love, the smell of the rubber and the fuel and the noise. Just as soon as we pulled up and I got out and I heard, open headers just blast, and it's music for me. I just get excited thinking about it.
That's awesome. So what made you pull the trigger on like an event like this compared to like Power Tour, or I don't know, I'm sure there's some other driving events that are out your way more, or like SoCal and stuff like that. Probably wasn't that far from you. I mean, like, what made you do 2.0 as compared to going west for some of the other stuff?
So I've been hunkered down in the house, to be dead honest, doing virtually nothing. Everything out here has been shut down level 10. You can virtually do nothing. I had the best schedule set up for NHRA for no prep was for Street Outlaws. I mean, it had all these cool races set up. Everything got canceled. Everything was completely ruined for what I had scheduled. Dang. And I got to the point where either I wait for something to open up out here and maybe get one view between there and, whenever that opens up, which is they're just now starting to let, people come back to the track.
Yep.
So I said, forget it. I don't care. I'm going for it. I'm going to go ahead and invest money and go do this. Try and, bring some more people's eyes to the channel and help people who can't get out of the house, who are stuck in lockdown and all that stuff. That all we have is YouTube. I mean, really, I can't go to the races. I can't go drag race my car, which I'd love to do. So I had to. So I just said, let's go. Let's go do this.
That's awesome. That's all. And so your brother's like, he's like, I don't give a shit. Whatever. You put me in the seat and let's roll.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, luckily our wives are very close. And so they got to talking and they're like, yeah, these guys, I mean, how often will we get a chance where he was able to actually work from the car? He works,
that's awesome.
Doing obviously IT stuff for Verizon. And so he was able to make his phone a Wi-Fi hotspot. My car had Wi-Fi, but I had a limited data plan. But he literally was working during the day while I was driving every single day.
Cool. That's cool. I was going to ask, did he do any of the driving and you ride? But
I drove the whole time.
Iron butt right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily these seats are pretty darn comfortable, but
I think when we do 1.0, I think I'm just, cause we're going to either I hope we don't take Narxcart 1.0. I hope we have a new one by then, cause we've given it away cause the channel has grown. But I've decided that I'm going to ride a lot more. I'm going to bounce between cars and all that kind of stuff. So, but just for future, cause if you race in the next one, like if you don't drive, your co-pilot has to drive. So gotta keep that in mind, because I did not think about that at all. Not that we were going to be competitive anyways,
right?
But, So which day was your favorite? Like, did you have a top day that you can think of?
Well, the first day meeting you guys was obviously a highlight. And that evening, as you know, we both got to meet Mike Finnegan and Mike Cotton and all the people from Faster with Finnegan, which was the coolest experience to meet somebody who's that successful. And it's just a cool, down-to-earth dude.
Yeah. Should we tell them about how you saved my ass?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So listen, I'm standing up there and I've got the Dukes of Hazzard trash can and I'm like, man, I didn't get my wife a Race Week shirt. So I've got to get her a, Finnegan Speed Marine shirt. So I'm like, hey, shirts, how much, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have enough money. So thank God Eric was there, because nobody else around me had enough money either. And so he fronted me the money for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours probably till I could get back to the car and do that. But I think you end up talking to Finnegan and Cotton for 15, 20 minutes total.
Yeah.
10 minutes maybe, something like that. Dude, they were so cool. Like, to just be able to like really feel like we were hanging out, because they weren't there all day. So they weren't wore out. They showed up at like dark, and we all had enough. I feel like a good time with those guys, a good amount of time with those guys.
Yeah. And they actually took the time to give you attention. It was cool. And they weren't overrun. There wasn't, luckily it was dark and people didn't know they were there. We would have waited an hour to even say hi.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep. And they signed the trash can. And then, did you hear the story of how I got Dave Newbern to sign the trash can?
No.
The house at midnight. Oh, dude. All right. So I'll tell this story. I haven't told this part of it yet. So I don't know if it was he headed home that next day?
Yeah. He had his wedding anniversary was coming.
Yeah. So then later that night, Dustin, my co-pilot, and I head to Waffle House to eat, because literally we ate at like 1 o'clock and then it was midnight and we were trying to find something to eat. So we head to Waffle House in the cart. We're in Waffle House for like an hour and a half. The manager guy, cook, whatever, at Waffle House, like, oh man, yeah. He's like, I like burnouts. I'm like, well, that's what the cart was built for. So we're figuring to do a burnout.
Yep.
We leave. We're walking out the door, and Newbern, Mike Cotton, and Finnegan come around the corner, like with a couple other people. So we were like, oh hell, let's go. So Finnegan and Cotton both signed the trash can, the Dukes Hazzard trash can at Topeka, and then Newbern signed it there. So he signs it. I'm like, hey, we're fixing to do a big burnout. They're like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, and they go on into the Waffle House. Well, I carried 1 gallon water jug with us just in case something happened, right? I dumped the entire gallon of water out on the parking lot and just 45 seconds of limiter second gear burnouts.
Oh yeah.
So it was a great time. There's a video, if you go to Cole Reynolds, if you're friends with him, was a photographer of the week, and he posted the video, but I'll send it to you personally because it's hilarious.
That's great. I got to see it.
House, just like me slowly going across the parking lot, just murdering these tires. It was great. It was great. So your favorite day, Topeka, obviously because it's day one, you're like, yes, I love it. But how pretty were the skies in Kansas? It was like awesome. We're driving along. I'm like, this is great. Did you have a favorite track that you visited?
Yeah, the SCRA was probably my favorite track, partly because I grew up in the Midwest. I'm from a small town, Winnebago, Illinois, and lived in a farm community. We used to have tractor day at school. I graduated with like 72 people in my class. Very small town. So going out there, it just reminded me of our home track, which was Byron, Illinois, where they do the wheel stand competition and all that stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Which is coming up. But yeah, it was my favorite because of just, it was so nice. It was kind of out in the open in the middle of nowhere. You got a nice cool breeze. Like you're saying, the weather was perfect. Yep. I met a bunch of cool people just sitting in the stands talking cars. I mean, there's just some really good people out there. I mean, it was very enjoyable. Yep. My least, not that you're asking me, but was probably Thunder Valley because of the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes, I think they took my wallet.
They were this big. They were this big. Huge.
All had Street Outlaw shirts on, and
they would bite you, and you'd be like, "Ow, damn!"
Yeah,
it's crazy. So, being road weeking, like going road weeking with that stuff, between tracks. I mean, were there any super cool sightings or stops that you guys made?
Super cool sightings. Yeah, there's one that happened. I don't know if you heard about it. Well, we pulled over, and my brother had to lighten the load. Yeah. And so we pull over and to this gas station where it says gas station shut down, all completely roped off with tape. So he finds a place off in the middle of nowhere and just handles his business because he literally was in pain. I mean, he was gonna go. There's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. So we're sitting there and I'm waiting for him, and he gets done, and we jump in the car. We get ready to leave. I had noticed this white Ford truck sitting parked. I thought, well, I didn't see anybody in it. I'm just like, oh, well, somebody, whatever, not thinking about it. We go to pull out, and there's 3 semis next to each other, all parked in this open parking lot, all taking a snooze or whatever. Yep. And I go to pull out onto the road and take a right, and I see this white truck coming next to me, like faster than I'm going, probably doing 15, 20 mile an hour. And I'm like, oh, well, he's in a hurry to get out of here, so I'll just pull over and let him go by. He slams into the side of the semi and blows the fuel tank in half. 90 gallons of fuel come rushing out of this truck.
Oh my God.
Yeah. My brother had just lit a cigarette, and I wasn't going to stay around. So we pulled out. I mean, we looked over and everybody was moving, and the trucker had gotten out. So I think everybody was okay, but it was like, what the heck was that? I mean, it blew the front tire off of that little Ford truck to hit the semi.
Oh my God. What's wrong with these people?
What? I think the guy had just, either he was drunk or he fell asleep and had his foot on the brake. And I think he finally passed out and his foot went off the brake, and it just ghost rided right into the side of the semi. That was probably the craziest thing.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a cam on at the time, or I definitely would have shown the video. It was just insane.
That is wild. All right. So the next question I have is, will you sign up to compete next year? I got
Love to.
background here locking each other out of the house and slamming doors.
Hey, man, that's how family is.
Right. I'm telling you, I'm fixing to get onto him right here in the middle of this podcast. Hey,
It's not
no.
locked. It's not locked.
Then get your hand off of it. I'm literally, like, I'm not even going to edit that out. We're just going to leave
It's
it.
perfect.
Y'all can't play together. Oh, man, the joys of being home with kids. I went to the office today for the first time in a long time.
Nice.
I messaged you that. I got beat up most of the day. It was pretty busy, and then it would slow down, and you kind of get like this, whoa, oh, man, it's nice being slow for a minute, and then it just ramp right back up. So that's
Crazy.
All right. So do you think you'll sign up to compete next year? And if so, do you think you'll do 1.0 in the mountains or 2.0 wherever they end up?
I definitely want to sign up for one of them. It's going to be, where am I at financially, first of all?
Yeah.
Second of all, I have to figure out what I want to do.
Now you're in YouTube money, you know, like your channel is there and you're monetized. I'm so
I have made $10.
Dude, hey, that's $10 more than I've made.
Hey, I'm just excited to have anything at this point, and the fact people want to watch what we do.
Right. Isn't that cool? That's what I try and explain to my wife. I'm like, it's so weird, like looking at like the different states that people watch from and stuff. And you're like, man, I know no one there. Like that's somebody that has found us, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's cool. If you look at the analytics too, you get to see what countries people watch from, and that's super cool too.
Yeah. Yep.
But back to finish my statement on the car thing. No, I'm squirrel as well. I'm actually looking at Copart. Thank you, from one of your videos. I'm looking at that out in Arizona to see if I can find a wrecked salvage title newer Challenger that's V8 platform. Whether the engine's good or not, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But I want to make an all-out drag car.
Oh yeah.
That's a Challenger, and I'm talking gut this thing to where it weighs nothing.
Yeah.
And just, I don't care if I find a 6.4, I may just do like a cam, headers, simple stuff, and just tune it and see what we can get that thing to do NA. If I do end up not having the money to do that, I will race my Destroyer.
Yep.
The thing is with that, I would have it trailered over there just to keep some of the miles off it. And there was no way I was going to drive almost 2,000 miles and then beat it every day and then drive almost 2,000 miles back.
Yeah.
That's too much on a brand new car.
Well, and then, the other side of it too is like, if you break something on a car that's that new, then you parts become an issue trying to find, you're not going to find I don't know what parts you would need. You're going to have to go to a dealership. You're going to have to order it. You're going to be stuck there for an extra couple of days.
Yeah. And it's my daily driver. So that's my car. I don't have another one to drive. So
I'm always a fan of people building drag cars.
Yeah. And I've had ideas from, a newer Challenger because I know them. Yep. Otherwise, we actually found a Dodge D50. Yeah. It's a little 4-cylinder front.
Yeah.
You sure you know what it is?
Oh yeah.
I want to throw like a twin turbo Hemi or a something in there. Being a Mopar guy, I got to stick with it. But
and hey, so we're helping a guy named Matt at Big Blocks Garage put together a Gen 3 Hemi for his 70 Duster, and that car has snowballed way out of hand. Like it was just supposed to be a Hemi install, and then now it's like complete wiring and interior and paint, and like cars do, But that car's super lightweight. But a D50 would be a ton of fun. Like those things are light,
Yeah, and I would try to make it. Did you see the guy with the LTD station wagon who's running 10s?
Oh yeah. The
hubcaps on it, you would never know.
Yeah,
it would destroy everybody on the street.
Right, run like a 235 tire. You know what I mean? 235 8.5, just something easy and some old school wheels. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Big sleeper.
So if you don't do that, like what are some mods that you have planned to your car?
My dream is, it was last year, Hellion came out to SEMA with a 1320 Challenger with a twin turbo kit. I would love to ship this thing over to Hellion and just have them do it.
That's awesome.
If I'm not going to build the car from the ground up, I honestly don't want to just start messing around with this thing and doing, you got put headers on it. And no, I'm going to do something big or I'm not touching it.
Yep. I like it. Then I'm a big fan of you having a project car. You know what I mean? Like keep that car what it is, enjoy it, drive it every day, love the comfort and convenience of a nice late model, high horsepower performance car, and then have something just rowdy.
Yeah, I'm living vicariously right now through my buddy who's ex-Marine, just retired actually. He's got a old Fox body Mustang, a little notchback, and oh my gosh, we've been working a lot on that. He's put a lot of hours and a lot of time in it. That's going to be the next video probably that I have coming up for racing, unless I can find something else. We're going to take that thing out and do some testing. Just redid all of it. It's nitrous. It's
cool.
I think he's running 940s, 950s with it.
That's awesome.
He gets kicked out when he does because his cage isn't certified. It's in there. He just hasn't had it certified.
It's just not all there yet. That's funny. Yeah. All right, so let's spin the conversation.
Yes, sir.
Give some small YouTubers some tips. I mean, these kids don't know how to not slam that back door.
All right, first tip for a small YouTuber: don't have kids. Totally kidding.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I could probably YouTube full time if I didn't have to worry about them, because I'd live in a shack and have fun. I'd have more car stuff for sure.
No, I'm totally kidding on that. But no, there's a couple things when first starting out, and this is just how I've gotten just to 1,000, which I am small. I am nothing, but I've learned a lot through running my head into the wall.
Yep.
So one of the things is consistency.
Yeah.
First of all, grab a camera, just start making videos. Doesn't matter what they're about, what it is. Find your niche, find what it is you do, something you know about, and go for it. Just jump in there and start making videos. Be consistent, especially at first for about the first month. Either post daily or every other day, but consistently put out content. That's number one.
Well, and here's the thing that we didn't do in the beginning is I would record a night in the shop. Okay. So it'd be 3 hours of time, but end up about 6 or 8 minute video. And then I would post it every time I worked in the shop.
Yeah. So
I'd work out there and I'd come in, I'd edit it or edit the next day and post it. Well, it was all over the place, random. So then by the time we get to about 100 videos, I'm like, there's been 2 weeks missed here, or I've posted daily for 2 weeks, because I finally got some time in the shop. So the consistency is a big deal, and just set a consistent time that you think you can make it work. Start with every other day, every 3 days. We post twice a week now, mainly because I know that we can get to the shop Wednesday nights for our Friday update. And then I know I can get, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that I can post for our Tuesday update. I know I can get some time in those days for that, but I know Wednesday for Friday. So typically when people are watching videos, if you're watching it on Friday night when we release it, I've worked on that thing Wednesday night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now the other thing would be to look into how to make your thumbnails. You have to have a good thumbnail that draw people's attention. You also want to put the name that's on your thumbnail in your description. In your description, as of, I think it was 2018, they started using analytics that actually look at your description to find out what your video is about. So when somebody's doing a search, it actually is reading your description to find out what your video is about. So if you just say, hey, thanks for watching, and that's your description, you're not going to pop up on a search.
Yep.
So that, and I would definitely look into what's called SEO. And this is something you and I had a conversation about.
Yeah.
And there's a tool, there's a bunch of different tools, but the one I've chosen to use that was free is called TubeBuddy. You can get a paid version of it. I just went with the free one for now, but that one helps you with tags. That one helps you with everything that has to do with the analytics of the video. And if you're going to make a video about cooking, say a hamburger, you're going to want to find whoever made the 1 million view video about hamburgers. Use TubeBuddy to go there, get their tags, change them to yours, and put those in.
Yep.
And that will help you get your video seen.
Yep.
And then you go to those channels, comment underneath them, say, hey, dude, this was awesome. Love it. Trying to model myself after what you're doing. And people will see, hey, you're trying to be like him. Let me go see who you are.
Yeah. That's a great. Yep. So, and here's the thing about TubeBuddy is like tags alone take a ton of time. So I'm going to have to get on my kids again. Do you hear them? They're like animals out there. They're like,
you're about to tag them.
Trample. I know. They get that leg tag. So, but the TubeBuddy part of it, as far as like being able to just copy the 40 tags that are in that video and then paste in yours, take out the 6 or 7 that do not pertain to your video and add your 6 or 7 that you were probably adding anyways, your 6 or 7. Now you're adding 47 instead of 7. So it makes that saved a ton of time on all the Rocky Mountain Race Week videos.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the commenting on other channels, we've gotten so many subscribers and video views from being a part of the community. You know what I mean? Like you're on Facebook all the time. Like you're commenting on people's posts. If you're following a famous person on there, you're commenting on there anyways. Watch JR Go was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he grew from like 1,800 subscribers to 240 something thousand subscribers.
Wow.
In like 18 months. I mean, it was crazy. And he posted almost every day and tags and stuff like that. But he said that he doesn't look at comments after like the first 30 minutes or an hour that a video's been posted. He's like, because then it's people talking to each other.
Right.
It, you know, like you'll have, like some of his have like 1,500 comments, you know? And so he's like, it's just too hard to keep up with. So he's like, the first 30 minutes, hour, he's like, those are the people that are there for you. They got your notification. They watched your video. You know, you've got to stay in contact with them. And he said he talks to as many people as he can as far as in comments, but as far as like sitting there reading them, he's like, I just can't. Just too many times.
But that's a great point too, is being one of the first people to comment, especially on a large YouTuber's video, because like you said, they're going to read the first few and the rest are kind of going to go to the wayside and everybody answers each other's questions. So it's very important when you see one of our videos pop up, comment right away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if the comment is very tasteful or helpful or can help anybody else, I'll always pin that comment underneath on my videos because I want everyone to see.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's good advice.
These kids are fixing it. Get it. I'm telling you, this is going to be a great podcast because this is what real life working at home is like right here.
Yes.
Go unlock that door for your sister and y'all go back in your bedroom.
I'm waiting.
No, you're not waiting. You're fixing to get in trouble. Okay. I've got to go handle this.
Understood.
We will have a Destroyer 1320 2.0 podcast very soon because
let's do it.
There's a ton of neat stuff that's happening on both of our channels.
Yes.
You guys are like 1,080 now or some subscribers, right?
It fluctuates from, I was at 1,010, then it was 20, then it was 40, then it's 10 this morning. YouTube, I don't know.
Right. I can't figure it out.
Every other day it changes. So I'm just going to keep plugging away and keep my head up.
The one thing that's really cool about your channel in comparison to ours is like, I'm looking at like your view counts. Dude, you get awesome view counts. So like, I know that like when your stuff does this line right here and it just keeps going like that, man, your content's going to just be, we're going to be excited to see all the content you put out.
Same here.
Then it makes it easy to like when you're making money from something, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can spend a little more time on that then, you know, because now you and I know you spend as much time as I do, and it's a lot.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, everybody, if you're still listening, please go follow his channel. Subscribe. Do you have Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff under Destroyer?
Yes, I do. I have My Destroyer 1320 on Facebook, and Instagram is at My Destroyer 1320.
Perfect.
So it's pretty simple.
And I'll put all those links down in the comments. And that's the way to do it. Like everything for us is Narxoleptic Customs because you have to do
Consistent.
this. So, all right. I got a kid here next to me. Thanks, dude.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
Man, see ya.
All right. Bye.